Jodz of a Shitoguy martial arts. I'm a practitioner of Shitoryu karate and also a member of Philippine Karatedo League. In today's episode, we will talk about the upper block and the lower block, and this will be the part 1 of our episode about blockings. I hope you enjoy this one. So in this episode, we will talk about two major blocks being used by any styles in karate. So in this episode, we will talk about the upper block and the lower block. And in the upcoming episodes, we will be talking about the other blocks being practiced in karate. So what is upper block? So let's first start with upper block, also known in Shitoryu as Jodan Uke. Well, upper block is performed in order to prevent any attacks targeted on your upper body, most likely from your chest up to your head. Okay, so usually we see these blocks in different karate or martial arts movies or series, but in this episode we will show you how we do it. Okay, so let's start with it. Okay, so usually we start with this position. So if you watched the previous episode, we talked about Tsudan Tsuki, which is punching, and we also started in this position. Now, in this episode, we will start performing the blocking techniques with this starting position as well. Okay, so first we will start with Jodan Uke or upper block. Okay, so from this position, okay, so we put our hands here. In other styles, they put it here around this part of the body, but in our case, we'll put it around this part of our body or around this height. Okay, so let's start with the number or by the number. Let's perform the movements by the number. So first we start with this one. If you've watched the previous episode about performing the Tsudan Tsuki or karate punch, we also started with this position. But instead of moving towards the target, we move the fist upward. This is Jodan Uke. In other styles, they perform it like this to prevent attacks from above. But usually in Shitoryu karate, in this case, just in this case, we do it from this position, then going up. Then, how will you put it back? You go back to how you started, this, and we perform hikite afterwards. In our previous episode, we also talked about hikite or the pulling arm. Again, 1, 2, then 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So it looks like a punch, but it isn't really a punch because on this position, instead of punching it straight, there's like an arc here. Okay, so let's tackle why is it performed in such a way. Well, first, instead of just raising your hand like this, we move it towards this position simply because it's hard to put it back if it's already in this. Try pushing your fist downward. You'll notice that if you're performing it correctly, your elbow will slam against your body here. So you're using your own body structure to create a perfect foundation before you deliver the block. That's why you start with this, if you get what I mean. Because basically, if we perform blockings, we have to make sure that we are stable, else it will be useless, right? I mean, the attack will only hurt us. So we have to make sure that we're having the correct foundation. So in this case, we move it to this part. It's hard to put it back because it will go against your body structure. Then from this position, you move it up. Why? Why do we put it in this position and not in this position or so? I'm not saying that raising your hand or performing Gedan Uke in this way is incorrect. other styles, or even most of the styles in karate might even perform it this way. But there's a reason behind why in Shitoryu we raise it like this. Well, if someone attacks us and our arm is bended like this, it's either we're stronger or our enemy is stronger, then end point will be the attack will still reach our head. You get what I mean? But if you raise it like this, once an attack is delivered, it will just slide down. So we're not going against the attack. Instead, we're just redirecting the force outside. Instead of arcing it like this, we have to struggle against the attack. But if you're raising it like this, you're not really going against the force, but you're just redirecting it. Of course, in any other blocks, just like any other blocks, you will still hurt your opponent's arm. Why? Because when you move it like this, then you raise it, you'll notice that there's a simple twisting of wrist performed at the end. The purpose of that is, imagine this is the wrist of your attacker, and this is the blocking arm. So as soon as it is about to hit the wrist of your attacker, if you twist it like this, it adds a force produced by the circular motion of your wrist. So if you're going to do it against the wrist of your attacker, chances are you're inflicting pain. Simple yet effective. So if you're going to deliver the block, it should be 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. That is the purpose why we perform Gedan Uke or upper block in karate. And we can even use it outside if someone is attacking us when we're walking on the streets. So how do we perform it in a faster way? So from a standing position, like this one, keep in mind the number, the movements that we perform by the number. So if we're going to perform it faster, we're going to do it like this. That's how we practice it. In order for a body to memorize how we perform the blockings, until such time that it becomes part of our reflexes. Now, how do we perform it if we're on a senkutsu dance or forward stance? So it's something like this. So for example, one of our leg is moving forward and the other leg is backward. So 70% is in front. So we're gonna practice it like this. Get. 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 And we can also perform or practice it on fighting form. For example, we're in this fighting form. Then, imagine someone attacks you straight to your face or to your chest. So, you can use this one to block that attack immediately. So, how do you perform it? So, in fighting position, we do it like this. Fighting position, we do it like this. We simply redirect the attack going up. And it leaves an opening on your opponent because for some reason you were able to redirect your opponent's arm upward as well. And if you're going to mix the karate punch, which is Tsudan Tsuki, from this position, you can actually execute that punch. So, fighting form, then, see, again, in fighting form, we block, then we punch. Side view, so from this, block, then we punch. Block, then we punch. that's how we perform Jodan Uke. Jodan Uke or upper block. Now let's go to the next block, which is the lower block or Gedan Uke. So this case, we perform the block to prevent the attacks from this position going down, right? So again, this might look a little different with other styles, but it still shares the same principles with other karate styles because anyway, karate is karate, right? But so in other styles, they start lower block from this position, then, right? Usually they perform it like this one. But in this episode, we will make it simpler. So from this position, instead of putting the fist shoulder level, we put it from this part of our arm, then perform a circular motion. So, see? Then move this one again. Again, move this one. Again, move this one to this part of your arm. Then, imagine there is a circular pattern. So although your fist is not coming from this part of your body, still you're producing the needed force by performing a circular motion. So from this position, and it makes it easier because sometimes you don't have enough time to put your arm here, then block. It is effective if you want to hurt the wrist or the arm or even the leg of your opponent if the attack is going targeted from this position downward, right? But still, in real fights, you know, we need to perform techniques as fast but as effective as possible. That's why in this case, we're gonna perform lower block from this position instead of this. So, like this. Keep in mind the same principle. When we perform the upper block, we twisted our arm, right? So same goes with lower block. You can hurt your opponent's arm or leg by twisting the wrist downward. It adds acceleration and force. It's simple yet effective. So how do you perform it if you're just standing like this and someone attacks you from this part of your body downwards? So you can just simply, right? Or from other side, or from other side. Simple yet effective. Now how do you perform it? How are we gonna perform the lower block if we're on a fighting form? Because earlier we discussed about how we can perform it when we're just standing using our normal stance. So let's say from this position, let's say this is your fighting form. So you can perform the lower block by, in this case, we can use the arm that we have at the front. So from this position, we can perform the lower block or Gedan Uke by using this one. Then, just like the upper block, from this position you can throw the Tsudan Tsuki or the karate punch that we discussed in our previous episode, like this. So again, from this position, someone attacks this part of our body down below, so we can just do it. Or from the other side, so we're on the fighting form, someone attacks us. Again. Now, on side view, here's how it might look like. So, we're on the fighting form, then again, or from this side, again. So there are many ways on how we can execute the lower block and the upper block, which is known in karate as Uke, or lower, which is Gedan Uke. So I hope this video helped you have some ideas on how to practice these two major blocks that we perform in karate. You can practice this at home or when you're on your dojo or gym. You can also try visualizing how can these techniques be applicable in your day-to-day life. Because although karate is known nowadays as a sport, or you can also practice this as a player, in reality, this is specifically designed in order for us to defend ourselves whenever there's an assailant or an attacker, an expected attacker. So we have to keep in mind that these techniques are designed in order for us to react in the most efficient and effective way as possible. So next episode that we will be having, we'll tackle more about the other blocks that we perform in karate, which will be the inside block and the outer block. So if you like this video, please click on the like below, and also feel free to subscribe in our channel so that you'll be notified whenever there are new episodes or new videos that we will be having in regards to how to perform different techniques of karate and how we can use those techniques in our day-to-day life in order to make sure that we can defend ourselves and those people that we love. So again, this is Jodz of Shitoguy Martial Arts. Stay strong, stay focused, stay open to all the learnings that we can have, and may this video help you. You can also check on the description, by the way, the description box below if you want to see the previous episodes that we have. And also, you can follow us on our Facebook page as well. Okay? Thank you guys. See you. Bye-bye.